If you haven't already noticed, we at PokeRebels like Nuzlocke a lot. We do Nuzlocke, we talk about Nuzlocke, we fail at Nuzlocke sometimes, but this time around, we decided to try something different that no one else is doing. MONOTYPE Nuzlockes. Okay, fine, everyone and their grandma's doing them, but we think they're cool, okay? And for our first time, we decided to pick the water type. Not only is there a lot of water type Pokemon, but it's also a good type with only 2 weaknesses, which should be good for us. And to start this off, we will play Pokemon Crystal, mainly because Gen 1 has Surge, which will always destroy you and make you look stupid. But without further ado, here is our attempt at a Gen 2 Hardcore Mono Water Nuzlocke. Let's go! Starting off our run, we pick our first Pokemon, a Totodile named K. Rool. After doing Professor Elm's little chore, we're given Pokeballs and allowed to go on our merry way. First thing we do is catch our second Mon, Sleeper the Poliwag. With this team leveled up to level 9, we beeline for our first real challenge, Gym Leader Falkner. For Falkner, we lead K. Rool and spam Rage. With every hit we take, Rage becomes stronger and thus allows us to beat even the threatening Pidgeotto without much hassle. Moving on, we encounter a Wooper in Route 32, which we name Quag. We then proceed to get an old rod with the Fisherman and the Pokemon Center before Union Cave, and we fish a Magikarp in Violet City. A place where we do not fish for an encounter though was Union Cave, and since the only water encounter we can get is Wooper, which we already have, we did not get an encounter here. Now in Azalea, we make sure to catch Dodgers the Psyduck in Ilex Forest, and my IQ the Slowpoke in Slowpoke Well, meaning we finally have a team of 6. This team easily thwarts the Rocket Grunts in the well, and we can move on to face the second gym leader, Bugsy. Bugsy's squad consists of 2 weak Cocoon Pokemon in Scyther, which has a Fury attack that starts weak but can get out of hand quickly. A great way to deal with this team is, once again, Rage Totodile, but this time around we decide to do something different. We lead Slowpoke into Metapod and curse 6 times, which hopefully does not get our video demonetized by YouTube. With the boost to attack and defense we just got, Tackle easily takes care of not only Metapod, but the incoming Scyther, which thankfully does not crit us. Scyther still does a lot of damage to Slowpoke, which means we resort to Dodgers to beat the Kakuna. Easy badge number 2. Collecting badges may be simple enough so far, but next up is our rival, H2O, who, thanks to us picking Totodile, has a level 16 Bayleaf with Razor Leaf. This move is extremely strong for this point in the game and can absolutely destroy us. But thankfully, there's one detail that prevents us from getting obliterated. The next gym leader, Whitney, has a level cap of 20, which is of course a level we are not allowed to go over. But guess which Pokemon evolves at exactly level 20? Magikarp. With our newly evolved Gyarados, we have a Pokemon that is not only strong, but not super effectively hit by grass moves. Gyarados can 1v1 the rival's Bayleaf. As for the other members of H2O's team, we easily beat them as they're no threat at all, which makes not only for one more successful battle, but also the only instance where Whitney has ever been of help to anyone. Thanks, Whitney. Eager to meet the third gym leader and thank her for her contribution to our run, we went straight up to Goldenrod City, not forgetting to make an ever so slight detour to catch a Krabby on Route 34, and we named him Quab. But side quests aside, once we arrive at Whitney's gym, we greet her politely and do the most thankful thing we ever could do: lead our starter and spam boosted rages all over her team. That's what we call true gratitude at PokeRebels. You should definitely try it out. The show goes on for us as well. Make sure to grab a water bottle to awaken Sudowoodo, even though all of our Pokemon are water types to begin with. Get to Ecruteak City and catch a Marill at Mount Mortar, which we promptly evolve into Azumarill. Once that's done, we have a painless fight against H2O thanks to Quagsire, K. Rool, and Garaya, so we can proceed to the actual main event. But before we do that, we make sure to take care of the Kimono Girls to get access to Surf, coincidentally the best stab move for literally all of our Pokemon. But now let's talk Morty. Morty has a team made up of 1 Ghastly, 2 Haunter, and the Ace Gengar. Now, Ghastly and Haunter are not very threatening and can be beaten with most stuff we have. The Gengar, however, can be tricky. See, Shadow Ball is, in fact, not a problem, as it's a physical move which uses Gengar's bad attack stat. The problem is Hypnosis and Dream Eater, which is not only massively damaging and heals the Gengar, but also cripples us with sleep. Here's how we go about playing around it. We lead Gyarados on Ghastly and use it to beat 2 of the 3 weaker ghosts. Then comes the hard part. Gengar shows up and puts us to sleep with Hypnosis. What this means is that the next move Gengar is going for will be Dream Eater. We make sure to take this chance to switch to Quagsire, which has Dig to hit the ghost super effectively. Quagsire gets put to sleep as well, but this activates its Mint Berry, which allows it to fire off a strong Dig that unfortunately does not outright KO the Gengar. On the next turn, we get once again put to sleep. We can absolutely not afford to be hit by a Dream Eater here, as it would heal him. We then switch to K. Rool. The next Hypnosis from Gengar misses and we kill with Bite. We were obviously counting on this to happen at some point, but we only needed one of the Hypnosis clicks to miss, which made the odds massively stacked in our favor. From there, K. Rool beats the second Haunter and wins us the game. With the 4th badge in our hands, Surf becomes usable outside of battle, which means we can catch a Goldeen east of Ecruteak, which we call Dupe. However, the interesting stuff happens from Olivine onwards. We first rappel our way to Route 41 and catch a tentacle named Unknown Swimming Object, and then go back to Route 40 and fish for a Staryu named Star. We also make sure to fish in Olivine for a Chinchou named Zapper, a fantastic Pokemon given the water electric typing and not so bad stats. The reason we started with Route 41 is so that we do not fish a Tentacle in one of Olivine or Route 40, costing us one of those 2 great Pokemon for a Tentacle that is extremely commonplace. This way of exploiting the duplicate claws to get more and better Pokemon is commonly referred to as encounter routing and is a common Nuzlocke strategy. In fact, there is even a better play, which would be to catch our Tentacle not in Route 41, but in the water next to Cianwood, which would allow us to get Mantine from Route 41, which we didn't think about. With these new Pokemon, we can now face Chuck, the 5th gym leader. We made sure to go through most of the Mahogany Team Rocket segment beforehand, since the level caps for Chuck and Price are only 1 level apart. We use K. Rool to beat his Primeape, and then switch to Ozzy on the Poliwrath to cancel the defense drop from Primeape's Leer. Then through a careful combination of Zapper, Gyarados, and USO, we defeat the Poliwrath without much risk. Where combinations are not needed though is the Price fight, which has a squad that looks engineered in a lab to be food for Lantern. Surf the Piloswine, Spark the Seal and Dugong, easy game. And if you like that solo sweep by Lantern, prepare to be treated by an equally luxurious Jasmine sweep by Quagsire. Earthquake the Magnemite, Surf the Steelix, GG easy, get wrecked. After a boring and uneventful Team Rocket radio tower split, which we choose to spare the viewer, we go to the next destination in our journey, Union Cave. See, not getting an encounter here allows us to get one of the best water Pokemon available, Travels the Lapras. Now, of course, we had to use PK Hex to reset the game clock to wait until the next Friday for Lapras to spawn normally. But once our Water Ice friend is here, we can now go to Ice Path and then Blackthorn City, home to the last of Johto's gym leaders, Claire. And guess which Pokemon we use to totally destroy her? Yep, that would be Lapras. Having used a few Carbos on it to get to above 56 speed, Lapras can outspeed and one-shot every Dragonair with Stab Ice Beam. From there, we just click Pear Song, switch out, and stall with Ozzy until Kingdra falls. Easy Gym 8. With the 8 gems of Johto in our pocket, we can head into the Kanto region, where we can catch a Shelder on Route 25 named Secret. This soon-to-be Cloyster is a crustacean on a mission. Explode on Red Snorlax. Now, we might be a bit ahead of ourselves, but Snorlax is extremely hard to counter consistently, and a physical tank with Boom like Cloyster is perfect for the task. But for now, Secret stays in the box as we plan our Elite Four team. So here's the squad we brought. K. Rool, Quagsire, Gyarados, USO, Travels, and Zapper. Note that Poliwrath would have been good as a Houndoom counter, but we over-leveled the level cap of 47, so too bad for us. On Will, we used Travels to beat Xatu. We switched to Gyarados to beat the Jinx with a Lucky Strength crit. On Slowbro, we got Zapper and Spam Spark against a +2 special defense Pokemon until it falls. In comes Executor, which makes it free for us to switch to Travels and sweep the rest of the fight off, as the egg does not have grass moves. Next up is Koga. We lead Gyarados and use Rain Dance, boosted Surfs to beat Ariados, Fortress, and Muck. On the Crobat, we get Toxic and decide to swap out the Travels and Ice Beam the bat down. For Venomoth, we use Zapper and K-Rool to safely dispose of it. 2 fights down, 3 to go. Next up is Bruno. Gyarados easily takes care of Hitmontop. Sean comes in. We switch to Quadge to absorb Thunder Punch and 1v1 the Boxer. Hitmonlee is next. We go back to Gyarados and click Strength, but we get swaggered. Unwilling to take risk, we switch back and forth with Quagsire, but Gyarados gets swaggered every single time it tries to come. However, once we switch to K-Rool, not only does the Hitmon finally click a damaging move, but it misses it. Then comes the actual threat, Machamp. This Machamp is very strong and bulky and has Rock Slide for Gyarados. Yikes! We chip it with Surf and switch to USO, tanking a Cross Chop. We click Surf, and as long as this Rock Slide does not crit... Oh, whoops. Oh, and guess what? We bring K-Rool only for Bruno to use a Max Potion on Machamp as we Surf. We then Surf again, and as long as this crop does not crit... Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Onix is last, dies to Surf. See, not only Tentacruel dying is tragic, but this scenario was so avoidable if we had brought our actually good Machamp answer, Slowbro. Honestly, this was just us being completely stupid. Ironic how my IQ failed to help us because of our IQ, but that's life. With our remaining team of 5, we challenge Karen. Through K-Rool and Zapper, Umbreon is easily dealt with. Next up is the dangerous Vileplume. Given our Mono Water squad, we go Gyarados on a Stun Spore miss and we spam Strength to beat it. Next is Gengar. Now, this Gengar's only damaging move is Lick, but it has freaking Destiny Bond. And guess what? Our only fast Pokemon Tentacruel is dead. We switch to Quatch and click Earthquake, YOLOing on Gengar clicking any move but Destiny Bond, and we win the bet. We carefully beat Murkrow with K-Rool and Travels, making sure Travels is out for Houndoom. We Surf once and thankfully we're not crit. Then we switch to Quag on a heal and one-shot with Earthquake. We somehow got out of this alive. And last but not least is Lance. We use Zapper to beat Gyarados and confuse and paralyze the first Dragonite. After it Hyper Beams, we exploit the recharge turn to go Lapras and Ice Beam it down. We do the same to the second dragon after it paralyzes us and skedaddle once Aerodactyl comes along. The rock-resistant Quatch is more than enough to 1v1 the prehistoric bird. Next up, we have Dragonite number 3, with the monstrous combo of Outrage and Hyper Beam. We go K-Rool and Ice Punch only to see our starter die to an Outrage. Here we were bound to risk one of our Pokemon, and we thought K-Rool was the most replaceable team member at this point. RIP K-Rool, you will not be forgotten. From here, Gyarados beats Dragonite with Icy Wind and easily kills the incoming Charizard, granting us the Pokemon Champ title, albeit at the cost of 2 of our best Pokemon. On Kanto, we kind of could not strictly respect level caps because of how trash the whole level curve is and us not having a lot of Pokemon to begin with, but most gyms were pretty uneventful anyway. Surge is a quad sweep, Erica is a travel sweep, Misty is using our superior stats to 1v1 fellow water Pokemon, Brock is kind of easy when you're overleveled, and Blaine is a Gyarados sweep. Sabrina was in fact kind of interesting though. Lacking better solutions, we use Starmie to resist psychic moves and 1v1 with Surf. We managed to do just that versus Espeon, and after pivoting to Quatch to offset the accuracy drop from Sand Attack, we use Minimize and Surf to cheese our way through the game. Not the most genius play of all time, but definitely more intricate than sweeping with Gyarados. Going to Blue, we kind of were getting impatient to finish this run, and oh boy does it show in how we played. Using Travels, we one-shot the lead Pidgeot easily. In comes Alakazam. We chip it with an Ice Beam, then move to Starmie and kill it with Surf. Next is Executor. We switch to Gyarados and exchange hits until it runs low on health. Seeing we probably do not kill with Strength, we use Hyper Beam, which definitely KOs. However, the incoming Rhydon KOs Gyarados with Rock Slide as it recharges. We go back to Starmie and kill with Surf before Blue's Gyarados comes along. We make sure to switch to Zapper and use Spark, which almost kills. Here, we think that we should play around Gyarados outspeeding us and kill it with something else, but we forget that Blue can use a full restore. A massive mistake. We chip it down with the Kingler that has a, well, quite suboptimal moveset, and do more damage with Ozuri, but Blue once again full restores and beats Ozuri with a Hyper Beam. But now that Gyarados is not at full health, a Spark from Lantern beats it. Last Pokemon is Arcanine, which of course is weak to water, but our team has been heavily hit and we would love to have Lantern and Star for Red. So, to avoid any RNG stupidity, we go to Quab and sack it to Arcanine before finishing with Star. A 3-death Blue fight that definitely did not go as well as we would have liked to, especially the Gyarados death. But there was only one fight left. We had to persevere. As we prepped for Red, we realized one thing. The plan to boom Cloyster was not going to work. Why not, you may ask? Well, Cloyster only gets Explosion by transfer from Generation 1, in which Explosion is a TM move. Not having a consistent plan for this Lax can absolutely kill our run, as leftovers and rest recovery with a relatively strong body slam on a bulky Pokemon like Lax can carve us apart if we're not careful. We could try Dynamic Punch, Poliwrath, but miss the move enough times and you can say goodbye to your Nuzlocke run. There had to be something else. Red leads with Pikachu, which we have a great answer for in Quadge. Once the mouse is down, Venusaur comes next, and of course both USO and Gyarados are dead, which means nothing switches into a grass move. Venusaur charges its Sun Power as we hit it with an Earthquake, then that is a dead Quadge. We use our free turn to get Starmie in and one-shot with Psychic. Next is Espeon, which we beat easily by spamming Surf, and next comes the Snorlax. Would our solution work, or would we get swept by this monster? And here we switch to our Snorlax answer, which is none other than Cloyster. See, Snorlax might be too bulky for Cloyster to outdamage without Explosion, but its moveset is Body Slam, Rest, Snore Amnesia, making Body Slam, which only has 15 PP, the only threatening damaging move. So, if we were to hypothetically use a Leftovers Cloyster with a moveset of Protect, Withdraw, Rest, and Swift, all we need to do is waste Lax's PP with Protect, boost defenses with Withdraw, and heal anything off with Rest. Only way this goes wrong is through a combination of crit and full paralysis several turns in a row, which is extremely unlikely. We very easily stall Body Slam PP, then we use Swift to force Lax to rest and stall out its rest PP, leaving it with only Amnesia and Snore. A perfectly done job by Secret without even needing to boom. Next up is Blastoise. We go Zapper in 1v1 and then Charizard, which Lantern kills, and we would have had Dodgers, My IQ, and Starmie in the back in case anything went wrong. And that is how we beat the Mono Water Johto Nuzlocke. It definitely was a blast to do. If you like this kind of content, please feel free to like, subscribe, and clown us in the comment section below, as it helps us out a lot. Check out these videos too. On that note, have a great one.